Welcome into the Skinny Podcast, the weekly Poetry edition. I'm Richard Skinner, Local12.com digital sports columnist and editor, along with Rick Broering. As always, it's presented by Blake, the attorney Maislin. We inch very close to Bengals training camp, which will be underway by the time we do our next podcast. The Reds are coming out of the All-Star break, and we got much more. We got a lot to get to, so let's get to it, Rick.
Yeah, Skinny, I'm ready for training camp. I know maybe you're not, because that's not the most fun time of your guys' work schedule, but like I'm ready for football to be here. I'm kind of getting excited.
Well, I will say this. The change of pace personally for morning practices as opposed to the afternoon, I think will be refreshing. Like, it feels like those afternoon practices, are 9 billion degrees.
Yeah.
By the time I get done with covering the practice itself and going quickly into locker room, then I got to do a live TV hit. Then I got to do a podcast. And it feels like I'm not even writing till like 8 o'clock at night. This way, I think I can be done with everything by like 5. It can be almost like a normal 9 to 5 day, for goodness sakes. So I don't think I'm gonna hate it as much as I normally hate it.
I saw that it's like, does it start at 10 a.m.? Is that what time they're opening it? What did it used to be?
2 to 4.
Okay, yeah, that's a huge
2:30 to 4:30. Yeah, 2:30 to 4:30.
I mean, it'll still be hot 10 to noon, but
Yes.
It'll be way better from, just like you said, the schedule of your day perspective. So
Correct. Yep.
Good for you guys on that. What was your reaction to Lamar Parrish and Dave Lapham being selected as the newest members of the Bengals Ring of Honor? I don't think we have to argue their merits. We both talked about thinking they should get in, but what was the reaction when you saw it?
Yeah, Lamar Parrish, as everybody who's watched this or read stuff, I've stumped for him from day one to be in the Bengals. In fact, I've stumped for him to be in the Hall of Fame. I think he's perhaps the most underrated Bengals player in history. Lap's an interesting one because we've always both believed he should be in, but I've always believed they should put him in. I'm surprised he got voted in. Good player, very good player, had a very good career, was a starter on a Super Bowl team, but not a great player. And yeah, he is Mr. Bengal because of what he's done in his broadcast career, an ambassador of the team, all those things. That's why I've always thought he should just be a separate, put him in and let's not even put it up to a vote. Because I go back to, again, there's a guy well-deserving, James Brooks, who's not in. I know people are still stumping for Bob Trumpy to get in. Trump was arguably a better player than Lapp. And James Brooks is arguably, I've made this point before, the best overall running back in Bengals history, and that includes Corey Dillon because of all the different things he could do, and yet he still isn't in. So, listen, I'm happy for both. I'm happy they both get to do it, both get the induction at a time they can enjoy it in their lives as opposed to when Ken Riley was put in the Ring of Honor and had passed away and was put in the Hall of Fame and had passed away. So I'm glad of that. And so I can't be disappointed. I'm not disappointed Lapp's in. I'm disappointed James Brooks is not in. I'll tell you that.
It's an interesting situation that he does get in over some of those other players. And I think it speaks to, one, the fact that he's still relevant. Everyone knows who he is because he's still around the team. You see him. So that's a big part of it because you do have a lot of younger voters, I think, that are kind of skewing these results. And it's, if you start putting in newer names like the AJ Greens of the world or the Chad Johnsons, Chad is already in, obviously, but AJ Green and Geno Atkins. Yeah. Any of those newer players, those guys are probably going to be pushed to the forefront. So Lapham has been helped by the fact that he's still around, the fact that he's still relevant. But I also think that speaks to how well-liked he's been and what a big part of this franchise he is, that people view him that way, that he's been around, he's hung on all these years, and they still view him as like he's a Ring of Honor guy. He is something special in our organization. It's cool that we had no arguments about him getting in from the start. We said they should probably just take Dave Lapham and put him in as a broadcaster, ambassador of the franchise, what have you, because the playing part of it gets weird when you look at Lapham's career. But I don't think anyone has an issue with him being in the Ring of Honor at all.
He's been associated with this team either as a player or a broadcaster for 50 plus years now. That's crazy.
You know, I was listening to some of Mo Egger's show, or actually I think it might have been Paul Dehner's podcast with Mo Egger on it, talking about this yesterday. And one of the things that Mo talked about is the thing that I always thought was coolest about Dave Lapham. When I was a kid, Dave Lapham, I mean, he was doing broadcasting, some stuff for the Bengals and everything, but like he was grinding it out, doing like games on, I think, Star 64 at the time. Like he was doing college game of the weeks on weird channels, college basketball. It was like all different types of broadcasting stuff. He really went through the ringer and went through the process of broadcaster too, and did it all a little bit.
He did a lot of Big 8 conference games, and some of those cities are not big towns. Lawrence, Kansas is not a big town. Stillwater, Oklahoma is not a big town. Norman, Oklahoma is not a big town. I mean, so he was trying to get in and out of those towns after broadcasting a game on a Saturday to get either back to Cincinnati to broadcast the Bengals game on Sunday or go to the next, the wherever the Bengals were playing on the road. That was the grind, and a lot of times cut it real close. But
But he didn't need to do any of that stuff, really, right? I mean, like he didn't have to do the extra broadcasting stuff that he went on to do. He could have just totally been like, I'm an NFL player. I'll do this color analyst work. But he got better as a broadcaster because he did sports talk radio. He went on all those like local TV shows that people asked him to be on and stuff. And I think that part of it's pretty cool that he actually, however you think of him as a broadcaster, he has really worked at it and done it the right way.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it, for sure.
Yeah. Bengals training camp will start next Wednesday. We're getting close here. Mock Turtle Soup Day is just about upon us for you guys. Give me the top 2 or 3 things that you personally, aside from all the like media blitz and headlines that we've been talking about for 2 months now with the contract negotiations and all of that stuff, what is Richard Skinner most interested in looking at or finding out during training camp?
Well, yeah, the contract stuff is still going to take front and center until it's done, right? I mean, it's not only Shamar Stewart, it's not only Trey Hendricks, it's also Demetrius Knight. So you got a chance to have a bunch of guys dealing with contract issues when training camp starts, or maybe they all get resolved. For me, it's a couple things. I'm interested on defense to see what Al Golden does with the cornerbacks. He moved them all around during the spring session. Like there were times Cam Taylor-Britt was in the slot covering Mike Gesicki. There were times he was covering guys outside. Is he a guy that wants to travel his corners? Like if it's the best receiver on the other team, does he say, Cam Taylor-Britt, you're my best corner. Wherever he lines up, you go. Some teams for a long time, the Bengals didn't travel corners back in the Marvin Lewis era. There was a left cornerback and a right cornerback and a slot cornerback. I mean, will they all 3 corners on the field play outside and slot? Is there no designated slot guy at this point? So I'm interested to see what he does schematically with that. And then obviously the battle at guard. Lucas Patrick, I think, enters camp as the starting right guard. Dylan Fairchild, or at least the first team right guard. Dylan Fairchild is the first team left guard. I hope they win those jobs. I hope that whoever starts in Cleveland doesn't start by default, that literally 2 guys, and if it's not those 2 guys, whoever it is, goes out and earns that starting spot, that you feel confident, okay, that guy had a great camp, great preseason. That's why he's starting at that guard spot, because it's not just one guard, it's 2 guard spots that are up for grabs and open. And then I'm still flummoxed that they've not signed a veteran safety. I don't for the life of me understand this, unless, because we haven't seen Dax Hill yet. He's coming back off knee surgery. Unless there's a plan to play Dax back there some at safety. I mean, maybe Cam Taylor-Britt slides back to safety. That part is totally flummoxed me. I mean, I think if there weren't contract issues abounding at this point, I think people would be scratching their heads going, what the hell are you guys doing back there? You have 2 guys who weren't very good last year, and maybe they play better because of Al Golden and whatever scheme he has set up. But if one of those guys gets hurt, you're down to 2 dudes who've basically never played an NFL regular season snap. They played 11, Tyson just played none.
I was just going to ask you about that, Skinny, not just at safety, but the depth in the secondary in general. What are your thoughts? I mean, are they one injury away from this being a disaster on defense, or? It's
possible. I mean, the corner room, if Dax Hill is healthy, you have 4 qualified corners. Now, DJ Turner's play slipped a little bit last year. Cam Taylor-Britt was wildly all over the place, where at times he was great, at times he was awful. He did kind of steady the ship late in the season and kind of started playing back to form. Josh Newton, I thought, played pretty well as a starter, and they really liked what he did in the spring. So that's 3, and then Dax makes 4. So you're 4 deep at the corner spot before you get down to the DJ Ivies and Marco Wilsons. And quite frankly, I don't think there's a lot of teams in the NFL by the time you get to your 5th or 6th cornerback are going to be overly thrilled if that's the route you have to go.
Right. You need 4. You need 4.
And they've got 4 depending on the health of Dax Hill and when he can come back. And I'll be honest, I thought Marco Wilson, in the limited play he got last year, I thought he played pretty well.
And then, I mean, you already said it, at safety, like what are you relying on there if something happens? Like, you're in trouble, right?
Yeah, and again, unless the plan, because we don't know the plan yet with Dax Hill, because we haven't seen him. He didn't play in the spring. Is the plan to slide him back there? But then if that's the case, then okay, now you're down to corner short. Yeah, exactly. So Again, they've got the money to do it. I'm just stunned they have not gone and signed one of those veteran free agent safeties yet, unless maybe they've kicked the tires, or maybe the film that they've seen on these guys suggests that none of them are any good anymore. Maybe that's the case. I can't believe all of them fit into that category.
Yeah, that I would say is probably the most surprising thing to me as well, aside from all the contract stuff going on, which, speaking of that, one of the headlines this week was Shamar Stewart. Now, is this a real headline or a fake news headline of he's back at Texas A&M working out with his former team? And the idea, the big thing behind that is that like he might be thinking of going back to play for Texas A&M.
Yeah, that's the old game of phone, right? Okay, working out at Texas A&M, some people took that as he's practicing with Texas A&M's football team with plans to go back and play at Texas A&M. He's not allowed to do that. Could he litigate that and go to the courts and possibly do it? I mean, everybody's suing the NCAA nowadays and winning, right? So could he sue, and could he sue the NFL for that? I guess. But he was working out in College Station, like lifting weights and conditioning. That's probably not very rare, right? I mean, a lot of guys.
Literally everybody does that.
Correct. Yeah. You got a nice facility to go train in at your former college.
You don't make me pay for it.
Yes, correct. I mean, so I think everybody took that as a now. That doesn't mean Shamar Stewart's going to be here on Monday when rookies report. I wouldn't take that as a sign either way. But I think everybody took that he's working out at Texas A&M of he's practicing. Well, he can't practice with them. I don't even think they are practicing yet anyway, because they just had SEC Media Days this week. So I don't believe they're practicing anyway. But working out, everybody took that as a leap of faith of, listen, guys do it all the time. I mean, hey, remember the headline a couple of weeks ago? Trey Hendrickson was back in town working out. Yeah, and what? He's working out. What do you expect him to do?
Yeah, so the way this went is like report surface, he's working out in College Station or whatever. Then it elevates to kind of this whole idea of he might be thinking about trying to play for Texas A&M next year, and this is a step in that direction, what have you. There was kind of silence from his camp, and then all of a sudden his dad starts posting on Twitter like, that night or the next day or whatever, slow news day, everybody's got to start making stuff up about Shamar again, and they're acting like the whole thing was fake. My question to you is, do you think his agent, because these were like national podcasters, like legit people who cover college football that were talking about this possibility, do you think his agent leaked this? No. Planted this to try to push the Bengals at all, and then it backfired, so now they're trying to act like this was never a thing?
From what I understand, it was a 24/7 reporter who covers Texas A&M who was tipped off that he was there working out. That doesn't mean a thing. So I trust the guys reporting on it that, hey, he's in College Station working out, but then everybody took the leap of faith of he's trying to get back to Texas A&M. No, he's not.
Right. Yeah. That just always seems silly. If he were to do anything, it seems like he would be sitting out this year and re-entering the draft next year. If he went back and played, he wouldn't be allowed to re-enter the draft.
Correct. No, that's correct.
Yeah. So like if he were going to try to do that whole route of going back to the draft and avoiding the Bengals, he would basically have to sit out this year. That is the more likely circumstance if we go to like the absolute worst case scenario. And no one thinks that's actually going to happen either.
I don't know, man. I'm in the camp that thinks it could.
You think he'll sit out the entire year?
I think he could. I think listen, the Bengals have to blink on this, and they're not willing to blink. They're not. His side isn't, because here's the thing. Let's not forget, NIL money changes everything. This isn't like a kid who doesn't have a nickel in his pocket. He doesn't have the $18 million he's going to get in his rookie contract, but he's got enough to sit there and say, you know what? I'll just sit this one out and go in the draft next year and play for somebody different. And I will tell you, this will be an interesting test case. I don't think any NFL team, I think you could see NFL teams calling the Bengals and go, just get this kid signed, because now if he sits it out and goes back to the draft, that sets a precedent that players go, hey, don't take me or I'm not going to come play for you. I got NIL money. I can sit this out for a year if I need to.
See, I don't know. I almost think the opposite. I think it's almost like NFL teams will be like, do not cave. We cannot have players threatening to sit out and go back into the draft and winning, because they'll start doing that.
That's my point. I think they're going to tell the Bengals to cave on this.
I think it's the opposite. They'll tell them they cannot cave. And by the way, I think now that, especially with this latest round, whether it was real or not, the whole he's back at Texas A&M and it was a very public storyline. Every time stuff like that happens, I think Mike Brown gets farther back into his old ways and feels like the old Mike Brown and digs in his heels deeper and is like, there's no chance we're caving on this. So I think we're pushing farther and farther towards the Bengals not caving. And you're right. Maybe there is a more extended holdout. I just find it's hard to believe that this guy is going to pass up on $18 million and NFL money for what's unknown, especially a guy that didn't really produce at all when he was in college.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'll go back to this, and because I've had people throw this at me that say, well, if he doesn't play this year, it's going to hurt his stock. Let me ask you this question. Jamar Chase didn't play his COVID year in college. How much hurt his stock?
Two things.
Not one iota.
Two things, though. Shamar Stewart is not Jamar Chase.
It's not. No, that's true. But Shamar Stewart was drafted on traits and athleticism. That's not going to change in a year. Those traits and athleticism are still going to be there.
You're right. And I would also say the one thing that GMs, owners, anyone doing this stuff in sports, whether it's football, basketball, what have you, we know they love the unknown. They love the guy that they haven't really seen enough of yet. The guy that's like sitting out, the guy that they think they talk him up in their minds. They build him up to be something that he never was. We saw it so often with the NBA draft that they literally had to implement the one and done rule in college because NBA owners couldn't help themselves from taking guys out of high school that weren't even close to being ready. So yeah, I mean, you're right about that part of it. I don't think the intrigue will completely go away. Someone will take him, but you could be talking about, I mean, it's not unreasonable to think he would have slid deeper in this draft had the Bengals not taken him where they did. You could be talking
in a first round grade from everybody.
A first round grade, but he could have gone 5, 6 spots later, and I don't think anyone would bat an eyelash. Maybe even 10 spots later, maybe even more than that with his lack of production. And now you're talking about he sat out an entire year. If you go from where the Bengals took him to what are we talking about now? You slide another 10, 15 spots?
I don't know, but I don't know what the edge rusher class is like next. This was a good edge rusher class. I mean, maybe next year's edge rusher class is nobody.
That's a fair point too. I don't know the next year's draft class well enough to comment on that part of it. But wrap this up for us. Where are we at, and what's the thing to look for here next with Shamar Stewart? Do you think we're just waiting to see what he does the first day of training camp?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to know the rookies because they report on Monday. That's mock turtle soup day. That question is going to come up. I guess the question will come up, did Shamar report today? So that'll get answered hopefully by one of the guys between Mike Brown, Zach Taylor, Duke Tobin. We're talking to all of them. And then see what happens on that Wednesday when camp begins. All
right. You guys over at Local 12 were doing, not you guys, you were doing the Bengals top 25 players this quarter century. We had talked about a number of them on the last few episodes. You guys at Local 12 are revealing the final 5, the top 5 players on that list. Give me the top 5, and then I want to talk a little bit more about the list.
All right, I'll go down, and I'm going to give you 25 other names after that before we go down this, and that way you can tell me if you thought they should have made it too. I got 25 names in alphabetical.
That didn't make the list at all.
Didn't make the list at all.
Okay.
All right, number 5 is Geno Atkins.
Okay.
Number 4, Willie Anderson. Number 3, Chad Johnson. Number 2, Jamar Chase. Number 1, Joe Burrow.
Yes, I think that's perfectly done.
And I did this last week, number 6. I think number 6 was A.J. Green. So
yes.
Would you have bumped A.J. Green for any of those guys in the top 5?
Geno, maybe. But I'm okay with that.
Here's what I wrote about Geno. And honestly, there's a part of me that probably wanted to move him higher up the list, but I just couldn't do this. Geno Atkins, in his career with the Bengals, played with the Bengals from 2010 to 2020. He had at least 6 sacks in 7 of the 10 full seasons he played, at least 9 sacks in 5 seasons, made the Pro Bowl 8 times, was a first-team All-Pro twice, and a second-team All-Pro once. He ranks 3rd in team history, franchise history in quarterback sacks with 75.5 as a defensive tackle. The next closest defensive tackle is 26.5 sacks behind him.
Who's that, Big Daddy Wilkinson?
Actually, no, Mike Reed, who played in the early 1970s, where sacks were not an official stat.
You called him out the last week when we were talking about who would you add? Yeah, no, I'm not against Geno Atkins at all. I mean, we're literally talking about 2 of the best players in franchise history. We're splitting hairs. You asked, is there anyone you would move him out for? That would be the only one that I'd think about, just because, I mean, like, your biggest wide receiver at any point is always going to be a little bit more important. I mean, maybe not to football guys, but for most fans, the way they feel about their team, your big time scoring wide receiver racks up all the stats is going to feel more important and like a bigger deal than your defensive tackle.
No question.
Yeah. So.
And you could argue Chad should be ahead of Jamar just because of the counting stats. But here's the one on Jamar that really struck me. Jamar is first in franchise history in receptions per game. He averages 6.4 catches a game. The next closest is A.J. Green at 5.1. That's almost a catch and a half more per game on average. He also is the receiving yards per game leader at 87.5. That's 13 yards more than AJ Green. I mean, those are just eye-popping numbers.
Look, you're talking to a guy who has an Ocho Cinco gold mohawk bobblehead clock sitting behind him now that I'm showing on the YouTube channel. For me to be okay with you putting Jamar Chase ahead of Chad Johnson, it tells you that Jamar Chase should be ahead of Chad Johnson. I mean, like, there's no real argument for me to make. Jamar Chase is clearly going to be the best wide receiver in Bengals history if he plays, another couple of years, basically. He's already done things that none of those other guys could do, and I have no issue with that. And I love Chad. Chad's my favorite player of all time in any sport. So,
I mean, Burrow and Chase are trending towards being Hall of Famers, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Chad probably is not going to make that. Willie Anderson's been a finalist of the last 3 years, and I wrote in my thing about Geno, he was probably one more great season away from being a Hall of Famer, in my opinion.
Yeah, I don't think Geno's a Hall of Famer.
As I said, he needed one more great season, in my opinion, to get there.
Yep. I also think I don't know that he ever really had the name or reputation. He was one of those guys he was so quiet. He never talked to the media. Right. He just went about his work, but I don't know that he generated the national buzz.
No, he didn't.
People that were really in the sport knew about him, but to get those types of accolades, you do have to have some type of brand. People have to remember you a little bit, and I don't think Geno ever had that whatsoever.
I mean, arguably the best two interior pass rushers of the last 2 decades are Geno Atkins and Aaron Donald.
Wow. I mean, Aaron Donald, yeah, you might be right. Geno might be next in that line or very close to it. If not, I'm trying to think of who else would even be in that mix.
Double-digit sacks one season as a defensive tackle. That's insane to me.
No, he was really good. Joe Mixon at number 9 surprised me a little bit. Why is Joe Mixon so high on this list? I
mean, you get to some of the counting stats, and he was consistently very good. And trust me, this is coming from someone who doesn't personally like Joe Mixon.
Yeah, that was the one that I think surprised me more than anything. When I saw Joe Mixon at number 9, I was like, wow. And a lot of the names under him, I was like, wow.
Who would you scooch up?
What?
One guy I debated scooching up, but it was just such a brief window of like 5 years of really good play, was TJ Houshmandzadeh.
I'm not a big Houshmandzadeh guy. I think TJ Houshmandzadeh was basically made of playing off of Chad Johnson.
I think that's true, but you got to have somebody to do it.
Yeah, I think as soon as you see him try to be like a bigger role type of guy, he's just Yeah. It was like Chad Johnson drew so much coverage and so much attention away from him that he was able to be the tough little gritty. To me, he was like a Tyler Boyd type of player, to be quite honest. Just a step above Tyler Boyd, maybe.
Yeah, that's probably about right. It's probably fair. All right, here's the 25 names in alphabetical order that didn't make the list, and you can tell me. I've got 2 that I could have pushed for on the list. Again, don't forget I had 2 kickers in the mix with Shane Graham and Evan McPherson, much to your dismay. So you'd probably want to kick the kickers out if I'm guessing right.
Well, for sure, Shane Graham.
Shane Graham was good. It wasn't great, but he was good. All right, here we go. Here's the guys that didn't make the list in alphabetical order: Jesse Bates, Giovanni Bernard. Giovanni Bernard, if you go back and look at his career, he had a sneaky, solid career.
I think both of those guys, a lot of fans would have them on.
Jesse never made a Pro Bowl. I mean, he was good, not great, in my opinion. But again, I get it. He was one name that I could have pushed for. Clint Bowling, Rich Bram, Vontez Burfict, Tyler Eifert, Robert Geathers, Jermaine Gresham had a sneaky, consistent success here.
The ending of his career eliminates him.
That's a good call. Sam Hubbard, George Iloka, Michael Johnson. Sneaky better career than I thought when I started looking him up. Levi Jones. Here's one I could have pushed for. Jonathan Joseph, who probably had a better career after he left
with
here
the Texans.
Yeah. Ray Maluga, Deltha O'Neal, just because he had that season where he had 10 interceptions. Yeah. Dominic Pecco, if you go by the average value on that AV thing on Pro Football Reference, he's high up.
Well, he hung in there forever, didn't he? He was with the Bengals a long time, felt like.
Jermaine Pratt, Brian Simmons, Justin Smith, who was far better after he left the Bengals than he was with the Bengals. Takeo Spikes, Eric Steinbach.
On Takeo, was it just like the end of his career was in the 2000s? Was he mostly in the 90s, or was he just not good enough?
No, he left here in like 2002.
Okay, so he only played a couple years during the era you were looking at. That's okay. Because he would have been in.
Yeah, he probably would have been in. Oh, based on what he – the criteria was not what you did before or after. It was what you did with the Bengals. It just wasn't enough of a body of work.
Yeah.
John Thornton, Logan Wilson, Bobby Williams, and Kevin Zeitler.
Wow. Who do you feel like was the biggest snub out of those guys?
Probably Tez, but he never really made Pro Bowls. It just, whenever he flashed, right? Whenever he was great, he was freaking great.
And he's such an easy guy to leave off the list.
Correct. The only other one I could have stumped for, the only other two, I guess, was Bates was one of them. I had Bates in there originally in the top 25 and then kicked him out. And probably Jonathan Joseph. But again, it felt like his career was more what he did after the Bengals. He was good with the Bengals, but
yeah, I think Bates, Bernard, and Joseph would be the three big ones for me. I tell you what, Pecco is one that had you had him on the list, I would not have batted an eyelash. I would have been like, that makes sense. He was around forever, always solid.
Yeah, but if always solid, and I
never really,
guys who had, like, either had franchise records or did, solid is the right word. And there's nothing wrong with solid.
Yeah, there's nothing. And I felt like the kind of bottom guys of this list were solid guys, not studs. I mean, Pac-Man made the list, who I thought he was deserving of it. Tyler Boyd, another solid, not really good player, were kind of your last two guys on the list. So, yeah, I could have seen Jesse Bates, Giovanni Bernard in that range.
And I could have kicked out Kevin Huber, but again, he holds all the team records in punting other than single season average, which Ryan Rico broke this past year. And he did it for a long time. He's played more games than any other player in Bengals history.
Yeah, he's better than Shane Graham. All right. Is that all we got on Bengals? That's all I had.
That's all we got.
All right. Looking forward to you guys getting it going next week for real, getting that coverage. I'm looking for Dan Hord's 5 things tweets or whatever it is that start up.
Yep.
That's the sign that training camp is back. All right. Let's switch gears to the Reds. All-star game reaction. We had Andrew Abbott pitching a 1-2-3 inning. We had Ellie going 0 for 2. And then the NL won on a swing off. Skinny, thanks to Kyle Schwarber. What did you think of the swing off?
Well, here's what I thought of the swing off. I was asleep by the time the swing off started, so that's what I thought of the swing off. I didn't even know they did a swing off until I heard it the next morning. I'm like, that sounds like the dumbest damn thing they've ever done.
I didn't know that was a rule.
I didn't either.
I
will say, going back to the original uniform, or not the team uniforms, I liked.
Good touch. I like that too. I always liked them having a different design each year as a kid. And then you see the hats still.
Yes.
That's kind of the cool part of it. The swing off sounded very stupid in theory. I actually did think it was kind of like a fun made for TV moment because 1, we had never seen it. 2, the players were very into it. They were all like out of the dugout on front cheering for it. And 3, what it was what we really want out of the home run derby. It was condensed. It was much shorter than the actual home run derby. So they're not up there swinging forever. You just get to see a couple big boppers go up there, take huge cuts with actual pressure on the line. You get 3 swings and it's going to decide the outcome of the game, as opposed to just like at some point, the home run derby, what are we swinging for? You've been out here for 2 hours.
So here's my question for you. For those who may have liked the swing off, do we like that better than the ghost runner to start extra innings, or do we want to go to this to end extra inning games in regular season?
No chance. I mean, it's a silly one-off thing. Honestly, I don't know if you did it again next year, if it went into extra innings, if I would care at all. I'm not even saying I really cared this year, but I was rolling my eyes at the concept like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And then you watch it and you're like, okay, actually, that was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. Like the players made it, and good for them. They've got really into it, and they were like yelling at each other, and it felt like there was something real on the line, which makes a home run derby concept more fun with, guys trying to hit the ball as far as they can with a first base coach throwing BP to them. It was kind of just a ridiculous scene, but also a fun one for that night.
How much of the home run derby did you watch?
None.
Good. Okay. Just making sure. Just check.
Quite, because for that reason, though, it's extended. It's like we've seen it a million times. What do we need to watch guys hit a run for 3 hours?
I remember as a kid when the ABA had the first slam dunk contest, and you got grainy highlights of that. That's where Dr. J took off from the foul line, running full court. It was like, what a concept! This is so awesome. And then for the first 2 years when it was in the NBA, this is awesome. Got different size guys dunking, and now it's become I can't even watch it anymore.
Yeah, and 1, I think because we've done all the dunks that you can reasonably do as a really athletic person. And 2, social media has just ruined these types of events. We get these types of things fed to us, the best, most crazy athletic feats, nonstop in our phones all day long. It's why Sports Center's not what it used to be, because you don't need the top 10 anymore and all those things. So, yeah, I mean, social media has just changed the game for those types of one-off fun things that no one's going to sit down for 2 hours and watch for 1 or 2 great clips when we see the great clips fed to us nonstop all day long on our phones.
Well, and I will say, back in that era, there weren't a lot of dunkers either. So it was sort of a novelty. I mean, when David Thompson did the 360 dunk, go look him up, kids. David Thompson of the Denver Nuggets. When David Thompson did the 360 dunk, you're like, no one's ever going to do that again. Well, now a bunch of guys can do it.
Yeah, jumping from the free throw line was like such a rare feat when Jordan did it. And now it's like literally every team has 2 or 3 guys who can do that probably. It's just they've gotten so athletic. They've all figured out how to train the same way. You don't have guys drinking a case of beer in the locker room after games and smoking and staying out of shape so that a few guys can really shine in the league anymore.
It's funny, dude. The high school team where I coach at Beechwood, we're probably – I'll be interested to see when the kids come back this fall because, there's still some maturing to do. I mean, we got a chance to have like 7 or 8 dunkers in a layup line. I mean,
in Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, that just doesn't happen. I mean, it just doesn't. I'm not here to tell you we're freaky athletic, mind you, but it's just wild to see that you can have that many guys dunking the basketball.
No, I think that just kind of tells you where the training and the athleticism has gotten to with all sports. CBS did a power ranking of all 30 MLB teams coming out of the All-Star break. Where do you think the Reds are?
I'll put them at 16.
Exactly right. And does that not just feel like the state of the franchise right there, where we've been for however long now?
Yeah.
Like right below the midway point.
By as fraction as you can come, right?
Yes, just right not good, not bad, just right below the middle of the pack, basically.
Listen, I'm bullish on this team making a playoff run. I really because if they can stay healthy, I think you've seen what they can do when they're healthy. But at the same time, they've given you through 97 games no indication of being that type of team. Like it's 2 steps forwards, 2 steps back. It was okay to lose 2 of 3 in Philly. One of the reasons was because Zach Wheeler, an all-star pitcher, stuck it up your ass on the last day there. But then you come home and you lose 2 to Miami. Then you lose the first game to Colorado. Instead of what should have been a 5-2 week at worst, or what, honestly, you should have turned into a 6-1 week, became a 4-3 week.
Yeah, they were 47-50 at this time last year, tied for 7th in the NL wildcard standings. This year, they're 50-47 and in 6th in the NL wildcard standings. If they improve, they're 3 games better than they were last year at this time. If they improve by 6 games for the entire season, that would have still left them 6 games out of the final wildcard spot last year. So, I mean, they're not trending in the right direction. I know we're past the midway point, but just even if they were to do about 6 games better, it's not going to be enough. Did you see Jason Williams' column where he said the Reds were boring?
Yes, and you and I said that a few weeks ago, didn't we?
Yeah, so he got a lot of flack for this, and I think one, it might just be that role being the sports columnist in the town is people like to argue with you and fight back and tell you you're stupid. So might just be a lot of that. People like arguing with Jason Williams. But I also think people want to, when you talk about their team and say things negative, they want to initially like lash back out at you and tell you why you're wrong. He explicitly said in the first few sentences, it's not about the way they play or their style of players. Obviously, Ellie is fun. He says he's a pitching and defense guy, and the Reds have enough of that for them to be entertaining from that perspective. But it's just the fact that they are stuck in the mud, middle of the pack, like we just talked about, and it's where they've been for multiple seasons now. Yes. There's no hope of them breaking out of this rut. And in some ways, Skinny, I almost look at this year as even more disconcerting personally because some of the guys that we were, the young guys that you were hoping were going to blossom have started to blossom. Like Ellie has been outstanding for a lot of this season. Andrew Abbott looks amazing. Lodolo looks good. The pitching staff has really rounded into form. Some of the other guys have come back from injury and helped you a little bit. And yet you're the same exact team. You're no closer to being towards the top of the NL Central or National League in general.
The one pushback I would give you is they've been playing better baseball of late since they've gotten healthy, and that's what I want. I want to see what can this team do if it stays healthy. You now have enough right-handed bats with Hayes back, with Marte back, that you should be able to handle left-handed pitching better than you've handled it. Ellie's swinging better from the right side. So I'm going to let that marinate a little bit, but I think the point's a fair one to make that, again, it feels like they've taken 2 steps forward one week, then 2 steps backwards the next week. You take, again, I'm not here to tell you they needed to go win the series in Philly for me to believe, but then you don't come back and go 4-3 against the Rockies and Marlins at home.
I think we're dealing in semantics with the word boring, and people are going to push back. And I heard Mo even talking about this, that a team with Ellie De La Cruz cannot be boring. And I think Jason Williams' comment or retort to that would be there's a difference between a team being boring to watch and a team being boring to follow. Yes. The Reds are exciting to watch on a given night. Ellie can give you the flash. The pitching staff can give you an excellent performance. They have guys with awesome stuff. Chase Burns was really fun to watch a couple of times. But overall, watching this team through the grind of another summer, It is boring. I find myself it should be impossible to be bored with a team that has Ellie De La Cruz on it, and yet, quite honestly, that's where I find myself. They're not really fun to follow right now because we know where this is going to end up more than likely.
Well, and then if you're hanging in that malaise of a couple of games out of the wild card by the next couple of weeks when the trade deadline comes up, do you have faith the front office pulls the trigger to help your team? And I don't think fans have that. I don't know why you would have that faith.
No, not at all. And that's a big part of this. It's not the one-off year right now that we're talking about. It's the track record that fans are caught up in right now, and it's frustrating.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right, let's go to Ask Skinny Anything. I know we got some food questions in this one, and then a couple others to get to as well. We'll start with, what are the best and worst press box meals Skinny has ever had?
Oh, the worst is in Jacksonville. It's like an awful cold cut sandwich and usually maybe a side pasta salad. That's it. Listen,
Wow.
I don't need 5-star fare in the press box, but something hot would be nice. I mean, it's Jacksonville's whole stadium experience is just. I mean, they still have payphone booths in the press box in Jacksonville.
Nice.
It's a dump.
An ancient relic.
The best, I'm going to probably go San Francisco. Their stadium, their fare is just off the charts good. They've got They got a carving station. They've got different entrees. They've got a giant ice cream bar collection. They've got all these individual candies if you want candy, like full-size candy bars. They go all out in San Francisco, man.
The tech bros know how to do it.
Yeah, they do. I mean, you're right. They do. That's where they get the money.
If you had to eat one local fast food item every day for a month, what are you going with? I don't exactly know what the local part of that means.
You know what is disappointing anymore is Speedway doesn't do the egg rolls.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's very disappointing. But I've now got into usually one meal a week. I go up to Golden Walk, and this is what I get. I won't get here's what I'll get. I'll get 3 egg rolls and a side of steamed rice. And that's usually enough.
That's just it?
That's just it.
3 egg rolls and a side of rice. Could you do that every day for a month?
No, if I had to do it every day, I'd go with probably a Wendy's double every day. I could do that.
Yeah, I'm actually someone who this would be no problem for. Like, I can get into a meal that I like and just keep doing it over and over.
Well, I'll tell you the other one I could do too. I could probably do Penn Station cheesesteak every day.
Had one yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah, I had to do a shoot over there with some NKU guys. We're working on a docuseries, and after the interview, it was like my NIL payment was a free cheesesteak, and I ate it like 2 hours later because I wasn't done working yet, but it was still good.
Yeah, no, that's a go-to for me too. Once a week.
Philly cheesesteak is unbeatable pretty much any time, but I could do Taco Bell quite honestly every day.
The thing with the Wendy's double is you can do different. Like one day you can just have it plain. The next day put an onion and some mustard on it. Maybe the next day is just a slice of tomatoes. You can do it different ways.
Yeah, just mix your toppings up on your burger. There you go.
I will tell you, I don't know if I can do Taco Bell every day, but I think we talked about this. It never disappoints.
No, I mean, everyone always complains about their stomach or whatever. I have no issues eating Taco Bell. And like I said, if I find something on a menu that I get into, the more I have it, the more I crave it. So I could absolutely get into like eating it every day.
The one thing is I always get 4 crunchy tacos. That's the go-to when I do. And then I'll put the hot sauce. I get a little pack of hot sauce, put that on it. And I always feel like after I have the 4th that I should have ordered a 5th.
Really?
Yeah.
I think just the crunchy taco plain?
Yeah. Well, we've got the lettuce and cheese and all that.
Yeah. But nothing crazy added to it. I like to go with the cheesy bean and rice burrito that they have, but I get it grilled.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, anything on the grill there is better. Start, sit, bench. Skyline, La Rosa's, Graders.
Man. See, to me, I'm not an ice cream connoisseur. Do I think Graders is really, really good? Yes. But would I tell you that, put a gun to my head, would I have Graders over UDF or vice? Ice cream to me is all the same. I can do a Breyers out of the carton, so I'm going to bench Graders.
That's my decision too.
I'm going to sit Skyline because I can only do it once every couple of weeks, and I'll start La Rosa's, even though La Rosa's for me, pizza comes in 3rd on the list. So usually when we get an order from La Rosa's, I either get a hoagie or a calzone.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about La Rosa's is some of their other stuff is better than the pizza, but you can always do the pizza too. So. Correct. Yeah, I'm with you. That's exactly how I'd rank it. La Rosa's, Skyline, Graders. What is Skinny's sleep setup? cold or hot guy, comforter, TV on, fan in the room, any bedside table necessities?
No bedside table necessities, but I would tell you, and this is where we get in an argument, my wife and I got to have the ceiling fan on full bore. It just got to be. I can't sleep in the hot. I got to have ceiling fan on.
Is it a cold thing or is it the sound that you need?
Probably a little bit of both.
Yeah. I know a lot of people like the oscillating fan in the room just because of the sound. They like that blowing noise constantly.
Yeah, I'm usually a TV on guy. I do fall asleep on the couch a lot. That's part of the issue. Now since we've got the puppy, I've tried to go back at a decent time, and usually we have the TV off, or she's watching some stupid HGTV show that usually I don't care enough about to keep myself awake, so I fall asleep.
All right.
I drink myself to sleep.
All right, so there you go. He keeps it cold. Comforter, yes or no?
Yeah, I've got just a blanket.
All right, blanket, yes. TV sometimes on. Overhead fan in the room, and no bedside necessities. Yep. We'll end it with this. Who was your celebrity crush when you were growing up?
I mean, what age group? I mean, like,
I don't know. It just said when you were growing up. So I assume middle schoolish, maybe?
Yeah, I would say the middle school years, it had to be Tatum O'Neal from Bad News Bears.
I think we've looked her up before, but
yes,
I'll do it again just for research.
She was once married to John McEnroe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've seen her before. Yeah, she's very pretty even as an older lady.
And in college years, we did this when we were having dinner in LA, when we were covering the Chargers game. Kelsey Conway came up with a great one of, if you had 4 people to invite to a dinner party, who would they be? It could be any 4 people. And I chose 3 people and just threw out Jennifer Beals' name just because Jennifer Beals was a crush in college, and she still looks good, and she's pushing 60.
Jennifer Beals. Oh, yeah. She is pretty for a woman of her age.
Yeah.
61 years old.
61. Okay. Yeah. That's what I thought. She was in Flashdance.
She was in Flashdance.
Yep.
All right. Good one. You probably will remember this name. Dominique Moceanu. You know who that is?
Yeah. Where do I know that name from? She was a skater, right?
No, she was a Olympian gymnast.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think 96 would have been her. Era. So I would have been around the time I would have been paying attention. But yeah, for whatever reason, I was into like this. She was probably like not even 5 feet tall, but I was really into this Dominique Moceanu in Crazy. I don't know why.
How does she look these days? Look her up.
I just looked her up just now. Like a mom, like a mom.
Is that a backhanded compliment, or is that just
no? I don't mean it negatively, but it's just like she looks like she just has a normal life going on. She looks fine. She looks good.
Okay.
But yeah, she doesn't look like she's a celebrity of any sort now.
Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah. So there you go. Right. Dominique Moceanu. Shout out to her. She missed out. That's all I can tell you. Yeah, she's regretting that.
She's pining for all those love letters you sent her and go, who is this Rick clown that keeps sending me these love letters?
You know what? Back in the day, those were popular at like the book fairs, at school. Yep. They would always come out with those books that were like, if you want to write your favorite athlete, all of their addresses are in the back of this book. And they'd send you to like the team's P.O. box or something. But that was a big deal back in the day. I wrote to David Robinson one time and I got back an autographed picture and all types of stuff.
Did you really?
Yeah. But I think it was just the Spurs PR office sending things out to young kids.
Do you think it was David Robinson's signature or some PR flack?
Who knows? I never got it authenticated, but apparently all that's a racket as well. So I don't know.
There you go.
I'll just act like it was him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what. Hey, everybody can. I've got a bunch of Pete Rose autograph stuff. I don't know if he did it or other people did it because it's a pretty easy one to fabricate.
It was real Sharpie. I know that.
Yeah. There you go. All right. Yeah. Well, maybe he did do it himself. That's great.
Shout the
we're back next week. We're going to have to do this at a different time next week because training camp.
It'll be a training camp.
Correct. So we'll figure that out, but we'll have a podcast for you next week as well.
Oh, do you want me to just come down to training camp from the outside of the gate? You be on the inside. I'll string it over. We'll just record right there at the fence line.
I'm down with that. We'll figure it out. I'm down with that. We'll watch all the people doing the autographs.
Yeah, that's right.
Rick Broering, I'm Richard Skinner. It's been the Skinny Podcast, the weekly potpourri edition presented by Blake the Attorney Maislin.